What is the single most common mistake people make when they first start building their identity online?
Because there's so much FOMO out there. The sense of like you watch Instagram, you watch TikTok, and you're like, oh man, I should be an influencer or I should play video games for a living. And I think that leads people to sometimes forget about the roles that are actually out there and also to remember that they got to focus a little bit.
We're here to have conversations that help us build the future of responsible innovation together. Jeremy is the author of the #1 best-selling book on ChatGPT for job searching and the creator of Career Code GPT. He's the founder of the Job Insiders and the builder of incredible AI tools like CareerBot 3000 that have helped thousands of people navigate their careers. He is also an AI and LinkedIn trainer for over 300 of the world's top universities, including Google. You majored in both political science and education. Was there a specific reason why you chose two different fields?
But one of the things that I've always been excited about, no matter the technology.
With the rise of AI in every aspect of our life, from your perspective, what is the biggest ethical consideration we as the next generation as learners need to be aware of? Hello everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of the AI Parenting Institute. I'm your host, Rayyan Ali. Our mission on this podcast is to bridge the gap between today's leading AI experts and the parents and teens who are shaping the world of tomorrow. We're here to have conversations that help us build the future of responsible innovation together. And I could not be more excited about our guest on the first episode, Jeremy Shiffling.
So glad
Jer-
to be here. Thanks for having me, Rayyan.
Thank you so much. Jeremy is the author of the #1 best-selling book on ChatGPT for job searching and the creator of Career Code GPT. He's the founder of the Job Insiders and the builder of incredible AI tools like CareerBot 3000 that have helped thousands of people navigate their careers. He is also an AI and LinkedIn trainer for over 300 of the world's top universities, including Google, where he used to work. Jeremy, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Congrats on the new podcast, Rayyan.
Thank you. To guide our discussion, we've divided this episode into four different sections. So let's dive into part one, the foundation and personal journey of Jeremy Shiffling. You majored in both political science and education. Was there a specific reason why you chose two different fields? Any attractions or anything you saw or found that was important?
Yeah, absolutely. And so I have to confess, I'm a certified old guy, and this is before the age of AI, even before the age of social media. But one of the things that I've always been excited about, no matter the technology, is our human technology.
Mhm.
How do we as people come together in society? How do we make that society work or not work in some cases? And then most importantly, how do we actually train the next generation to lead that society forward? And I think political science and education cover that whole spectrum for me. Political science tends to be a little more theoretical, sort of like trying to understand the larger forces that drive people together and sometimes cause conflict as well. And then education is all about that next piece, the very tactical piece of, hey, how do we support the next generation to be really effective in the society and all that comes next? That's always been sort of my own social science geekdom, just trying to really understand how these things work.
Exactly. So, what made you move from recruitment to teaching? Were you passionate about teaching kids and just exploring your options? And could you help us dive deeper and also what options you had and why you chose those two?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think one of the reasons that I became an educator early in my career is really to live out the values that I was just talking about. In college, you have all this exposure to theories, but very little practice to necessarily try it out in the world. Whereas
Exactly.
education is where the rubber hits the road, and that's what teaching was for
Yeah.
me. That being said, I want to be really honest with your listeners out there. I sucked at teaching, and that was okay because even though it was devastating at the moment, being like, oh man, I'm really bad at this,
Yeah.
it also was a reminder that, hey, we all have things that we're great at. We all have things that are our weaknesses. And if you want to build a great career over time, you got to be honest about that. You got to sort of experience the way the world really works and then navigate your career to really play to those strengths. And so being terrible at teaching ended up being the biggest blessing in disguise because it helped me move into things that I was better suited for.
Yeah, exactly. In Career Code GPT, you explore AI-driven techniques like using ChatGPT to personalize cover letters for specific job details. What are your go-to prompting strategies to master these skills?
Yeah, so let's sort of start with that human algorithm before we get into the AI algorithm. If
Uh-huh.
you imagine why we're applying in the first place, remember that there's a recruiter behind the scenes. whether it's Google, startups, a nonprofit, someone's going to be reviewing your application, trying to decide if you're a good fit. And they have
Yeah.
very little time. The average recruiter in America has about 30 or 40 jobs to fill. The average job attracts 250 resumes. We're talking about 5 digits worth of resumes for any recruiter to get through. So that means they've got to look for signs that you can do the job, that you're going to be a really great fit, that you're going to make them look good versus get them fired.
Yeah.
And so when you use ChatGPT or any AI tool to work on your resume and your cover letter, you always want to come back to that human algorithm. How do I make it really clear, whether I'm starting my career or midway through my career, that I can do this specific job? So lots of alignment with the keywords from the job description. And then also that I'm going to make that recruiter look good. So calling
Uh-huh.
out some of the best things I've done in my life, even if I'm just starting out, to
Yeah.
really sort of give the recruiter confidence that if they go to bat for me, they're going to absolutely be awesome in the eyes of their hiring manager clients. So that's what
Exactly.
you
Like
want to be
showing
thinking about.
like showing the best angle of yourself.
That's exactly right, Ryan. Like,
Yeah.
like let's say, for instance, you're looking for a job in high school, right?
Mhm.
If you're going to be applying for jobs, either as an intern or as a summer employee, you've got to show them, hey, even though I might be in high school, I've led a student club, I've organized this huge fundraiser, like all
Yeah.
these ways that you've demonstrated that you're responsible, that you're someone who can take charge. That's what we all crave as employers. And you can start demonstrating that basically at the very beginning of your career.
Exactly. So, what is the single most common mistake people make when they first start building their identity online? Is it on LinkedIn or other platforms?
Yeah, I think the trick is, and this speaks to sort of the unique zeitgeist of being in Gen Z or even Gen Alpha,
Yeah.
is there's so much FOMO out there. The sense of like you watch Instagram, you watch TikTok, and you're like, oh man, I should be an influencer, or I should play video games for a living.
Yeah.
And I think that leads people to sometimes forget about the roles that are actually out there and also to remember that they got to focus a little bit. And so I look at a lot of LinkedIn profiles where someone clearly is creative and has lots of great capabilities, but it's not really clear where they fit. Like, would they be great as a marketer or as a data analyst or whatever? And so the more that you can start to really think about it through that lens of like, what's that awesome thing that I could do for that recruiter or for that hiring manager, the more specific and focused you get, and the more you're going to get hired. So
To make
resist the
them
temptations of FOMO. Try to
yeah,
find that North Star.
to make them look good.
Exactly.
With the rise of AI in every aspect of our life, from your perspective, what is the biggest ethical consideration we as the next generation as learners need to be aware of?
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely a couple of things. I think AI hits in areas of sort of authenticity, which is obviously a big thing today,
Yeah.
and then also environmental consciousness. So let's take the environmental piece because in some ways it's a little easier. I think the reality is that these tools, like any sort of new technology, are extremely expensive from an environmental perspective. And so as you start to use all these AI things, yeah, you can generate your own videos, you can generate your own music, almost anything's possible, but
Yeah.
recognize that there's a cost attached to that in
Behind
terms
it,
of,
behind the scenes.
processing power and the energy that supports it. What I typically tell people to do is, let's say you're using ChatGPT, for instance, use
Mhm.
the most basic version for most of your prompting, because a lot of times that cost has now been driven down to about the same energy usage as a standard Google search versus like the latest models like O3,
Yeah.
that's 20 times that amount. And so try to
Yeah.
keep that in mind. That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two,
Keep the
what's even
basic
more
questions.
important. Oh, go for it,
Keep,
Ryan.
keep the basic questions to the basic like models.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the reality is like, I'm a big AI fanboy. I love to geek out on the latest stuff.
Yeah.
But again, if I'm using that 1,000 times a day, I'm probably creating a bigger carbon footprint than I need to. So that's number
Yeah.
one. Number two is from that authenticity perspective, I think that if you look at what's happening right now in the labor market, all the hard skills that we've always been told our entire lives are so critical, like learn to code, learn to be a data scientist, all of a sudden, those are the things that AI is great at right out of the box
Yeah.
versus the softer skills, things like communication, storytelling, relationship building. Those are going to become more and more important as AI gets better and better at the hard stuff, the hard skills. And so my challenge is don't just have AI come in and write your whole resume, write your whole LinkedIn profile, because you need the experience with the storytelling. You need the experience with building your own narrative. That's going to be the skill that helps you stand out in the future, not just being good at Python or SQL.
Yeah. Connecting on to the next question of mastering AI and future-proof skills, how can we leverage the skill of storytelling to ask and build the right questions?
Yeah, absolutely. So I do think that this goes back to probably the fundamental soft skill, if you will, which is empathy. I've been talking a lot today about know your audience, know your recruiter, know your hiring manager. Well, I think the same applies to almost any conversation, any kind of relationship you have, where you really got to be able to put yourself into your counterpart's shoes and imagine what it feels like to be in their role. And so my challenge is as you're going along using AI, using all these things, always be trying to do this kind of like Vulcan mind meld, to use an old Star Trek analogy, where you're like, wow, if I think about what this person has to get done, that's totally different than my incentives. That's a whole different way of thinking. But now that I think about that, I'm going to actually steer my prompts, steer my storytelling to really speak to that thing that they care about because I start to understand what actually matters to them. And if you can
Exactly.
cross that divide, you're going to be unstoppable throughout your career.
Getting into their shoes, understanding what they
Exactly.
want from you.
Yeah, you nailed it, Ryan.
Thank you. How can teens and young adults shift their mindset to see AI as a long-term skill building partner and not just a short-term job searching tool?
Yeah. So I think the really critical thing, and again, this takes a little bit of empathy, especially if you're, starting out your career and you're like, what is it? What is Jeremy talking about? Hiring managers, recruiters. Recognize that in every organization, whether it's for profit or nonprofit, there's somebody who's going to be accountable for results. They're going to say, hey, how much money did you make? Or how many lives did you impact? Whatever the goal, organization's mission is. And as a result, they're going to be asked in this age of AI to continually do more with less, more with less. That's going to be the hallmark of our
Yeah.
time. And so, if you're thinking about that long term where you're a rock star professional who's always at the cutting edge, you're always thinking about how can I help that person, my future boss, my future teammate, achieve that goal? And what you'll recognize is it's not like, oh, AI or human skills, but instead it's going to be both. Maybe you're a gifted storyteller or a gifted relationship builder, but if you also can use AI on top of that, you can tell a story to a bigger audience. You can build more relationships or deeper relationships.
Mm,
And so you want to continue to have this hybrid mindset of develop your soft skills, develop your AI skills together. That's going to make you this unicorn candidate that's always desirable.
exactly. And finally, part four, the big picture. Looking back on your own path from your early work in recruitment to becoming a leading voice in AI for careers, was there a single transformative moment, perhaps a specific conversation, a project that Ingo was planned, a quote that set you on the path you walk today?
Yeah, so I'll say probably the biggest moment that set me on this AI path was a couple summers ago. So in the summer of 2022, I was working for Sal Khan, who, as everyone knows, is the founder of Khan Academy, this
Mm,
big
yeah.
nonprofit that makes educational videos. Have you ever watched any of their videos,
Yes,
Ryan?
yeah, I use that all the time.
Okay, that's awesome. And so Sal Khan was my boss, and he gets this call from Sam in San Francisco, and I'm like, huh, who's this? Turned out that call was Sam Altman. And he was basically saying, hey, we're developing this new thing. We would love to partner with you on launching it to the world because we think that even though there's lots of benefits for profit and success, it could be really important to education. And so here I am 3 years later. I had sort of like early front seats to this whole AI
Yeah.
revolution. And I still fundamentally believe that. Like I know that billions of dollars have been made and trillions of dollars have been added to companies, market caps and all of that, and that's great. But I still think that if you're a student, if you're a new grad, if you're someone who's trying to find your place in this world, these tools should have the power to give you a sense of what's out there, to give you a sense of what your own superpowers are, and to help you blaze that trail. And so that's what I still fundamentally believe is that I want people to not feel like, oh, the job market is tough or Gen Z has it worse than any other generation. But instead, hey, there's a lot of opportunities still out there. Let's take advantage of this incredible tool and
Mhm,
go out there and blaze our trails.
exactly. Thank you, Jeremy, for the answers. It was very insightful today. And for everyone watching who wants to dive deeper, where's the best place for them to find and check out your work,
Yeah.
including Career Code GPT and everything you're building at the Job Insiders?
Yeah. So just head over to thejobinsiders.com and I give most of that stuff away for free. So you can download all my bots, all these tools to build your LinkedIn profile. And again, I just encourage folks to really have this kind of internal locus of control, which says, no matter what the world throws at us, no matter how crazy things are going to get, I've got the power at my fingertips to do amazing things. And hopefully I can be a little part of people's journeys.
Thank you so much. We'll be sure to put Jeremy's links in the bio to his LinkedIn and description so you can easily find him. Thank you, Jeremy Shiffling, once again for this amazing opportunity.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me on, Ryan, and congrats again on the new podcast.
Thank you so much once again.